I have a confession to make, and some of you are not going to want to hear this, but I want to say it. I want to get this off of my conscience right now. I honestly didn't want to do a podcast this week. No reason. I was just being lazy and I didn't feel like it. Okay? You happy? You happy? Didn't feel like it. But here we are. All right, let's recap what happened in week 8. A lot of teams needed a victory and they got it, and a lot of teams did not get the victory that they desperately needed. B Magic, Harsh needed that victory. I think that was one of the last winnable games on Harsh's schedule. I still can't believe you only have 2 wins. I literally thought this was going to be your third. David Sutton 136 against Alex is 109. King David. Um, there are some interesting tidbits though about this team. It seems like something goes well and then something else doesn't. I want to talk about that a little later on. The upset of the week was David Krier putting up 152 against Alan Williams' 139. Johnny beating Rob Coffey 130 to 109. Again, I think Matica and this Coffey team have really fought through these injuries this year. Andre Jones 142. Where the hell did that come from? And then Paul, you let me off the hook. I think the Mahomes flu definitely had a deciding factor into this. Something that really stood out to me this week. I don't even know what to say, to be honest. I mean, there's a lot. Nobody's team really kind of made me go, oh, wow. I think the only 2 teams that I'm looking at, when I go back to what David's team happened last week, the 32-point outburst by DeAndre Hopkins with Will Levis, I think, is definitely worth mentioning. Not to mention the fact this is the first time that both Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle both went over 20 points. This is why he made these moves. I think when I look at it, the fact of the matter is this: he put up 136 with Cooper Kupp getting him 4 points. Is this going to happen every week? Probably not. But if you factor into the fact that Cooper Kupp didn't do anything and other guys overachieved like DeAndre Hopkins, it kind of balances out the situation. My gut feeling is that 136, I think you're looking at his ups. That's a good upside performance, but there might be even more to that. The flip side too, I noticed the David Krier team. Now, I'm not talking about the statement that I made before the season started, but I want to talk about as soon as I can find it. Kirk Cousins going to IR sucks. So now he's relying on Dak Prescott, who's coming off his best game the whole season. Um, the other thing to mention here is this team, are all of his RBs hitting? These were all hand drafted guys, so I don't know if maybe he just was not actively shopping anybody, but they were handpicked. They're looking good. Josh Jacobs. I'm interested to see what happens without Josh McDaniels. Raheem Mostert. Um, he's a guy that should be sold. I think this is the most that his value is going to get with Jeff Wilson and Devon Achane coming back. I think we could really be looking at a 3-headed monster in Miami. Derrick Henry, 14 points. The Gus Edwards performance at 28 points. There's a lot to like about the Krier team, but I feel like Krier every year has a performance where you go, holy crap, this is a good team, and then it has 70 points the next week. So that's 2 tidbits that I want to go after. I'm going to be honest. Teams that I think really need a big wake up call at this after what I saw in week 8. I'm putting myself in there. Um, I'm going to make the argument right now that this should have been my 3rd loss in a week in a row, and then the panic button would have been pushed because then we're at 4-4 instead of 5-3, and we have not. This is the first time we've gone over 100 in I don't even know how long. Quarterback is a big concern, but looking even further ahead, man, it's the running back position. It's not getting it done. A lot of these 0 RB teams, the one team that I think would have been set up for success was the Rob Coffey team. Unfortunately, Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson are kind of busts. One guy is hurt, the other has not done anything. So, and the Harsh team sucked. So, for a Jonathan Ahern team out there, he's pointing and laughing. Yeah, 0 RB. I get it. To me, I still think it's the most optimal to win a championship. Obviously, it's the most I think it's safe, but it has its risks in it involved as well. Another team that I think I'm going to put the panic meter on is Patrick. Okay, so Patrick had 139 and lost to an Andre team. Andre, I'm not pushing panic button yet because he does have 5 wins, but the Patrick team in a division that's looking very, very competitive, might be one of the most competitive divisions in the entire league. Um, you couldn't lose this one. Sucks. I know, says Johnny. But the fact of the matter, am I on the wrong team? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong team. My bad. Some of these team pictures from a distance look the same. Okay. So putting up 132, Jalen Hurts gives you 35. Eckler gave you 19. Dallas D gave you 20. Logan Thomas, streamer, gave you 13, and you're feeling great, and then you lose. The reason why you lost, CeeDee Lamb, I called it. That performance was happening. CeeDee Lamb won me $500 in a DraftKings Millionaire Maker, so I was happy to hear that. But the bottom line is, that's what went wrong right there. You couldn't lose this matchup, and I think those are the two teams that are panicked. I think B Magic and Harsh, I think it's about time we bury them. They're done. Um, and I think next, the guys that I think are kind of holding on by a thread, Rob Coffey. I think there's a lot of good stuff about this team. I'm not ready to kind of bury him just yet, even though he's got a lot of L's in the column. Um, and I think next on that list would be Patrick, followed by Andre, followed by myself. I think that everybody else, if I'm not mistaken, oh, thank God. Okay, I am 5-3, but that could change at any second. All right. So it's interesting because I do think that things could get really interesting moving forward. By the way, I don't know the trade deadline. I think it's the week before Thanksgiving or the week going into Thanksgiving. I will let you guys know. Let's go into week number, we're in 9 now, I think. So week 9. When I talk about these two teams, it is rivalry week, and there is only one guy who really thinks this is a rivalry. The other one just laughs hysterically because he doesn't understand why it's a rivalry. This is it. There are two games that Harsh looks forward to every year. One against Allen and one against Robert Coffey. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Coffey versus the vintage one, Harsh Gaudini. Now, I will say that this is extremely winnable, and I do think that Coffey, I don't know if you have 2 or 3 wins. You got 3 wins. And I think with a winnable matchup here, and you haven't played Harsh already, this is a big win. You can't let this slip, man, because you might get 2 free wins. I know we don't like to say free wins, and I know you don't want to hear that, but it is what it is. Joe Burrow looks healthy. Great to see. Versus Justin Herbert. Burrow at home against Buffalo. This is a slam dunk. I know Buffalo just went out and got Rasul Douglas, who is at times looks like an underrated corner, and then there's other times where you forget like that he's even on the field. Justin Herbert, this is going to be the best defense that he's faced all year. They do not have a guy that can go outside and beat Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. They're going to have to scheme up Keenan Allen in a lot of different ways. They can't run the ball effectively with Austin Eckler anymore. They're going to have to scheme up something creative, and I just don't see it. Give me Burrow. I'm going to say, and not even a draw. I think Burrow puts up 28. I think Herbert puts up 17, and I'm being a little bit generous here. I really think that this defense is going to cause problems for the skill position players that the Chargers have. My only thing that might be a little bit nervous, and I'm not going to say it. No, fuck it, I'll say it. The only thing that I think might be a Hail Mary prayer in this matchup is if Jalen Guyton got activated off the pup list. If that is the case, I do think that Herbert can hit deep. The way you beat Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed is a burner, and you hope that he catches a deep one. The fact that he hasn't played all season long, if I'm, granted, Brandon Staley sucks as a coach, but if I am trying to scheme up the Chargers somehow, some way, if he's ready to go, you roll him out there. So I can tell you right now, Quentin Johnston's not getting the job done on this defense. Josh Palmer, I think they'll give him everything underneath. He might have like one of those random 6 for 60 games, but no touchdown. Keenan Allen might get 11 plus targets, but he might catch 5 or 6 of them. Flip side, Josh Downs, Devontae Adams, Zay Flowers, Chris Olave. Well, I told you I didn't like Zay Flowers, and other than one game, he literally doesn't get any touchdowns. Yeah, this Harsh. I'll give you this. DK Metcalf hasn't looked good either, but no. Chris Olave, okay, this is everybody's favorite. Buy low on Chris Olave. Buy low on Chris Olave. I'm actually going to say fuck that and buy Rashid Shaheed. For some reason, I think Derek Carr just doesn't connect with Chris Olave. Shaheed, though, dude, that guy's a burner. Flip side, Josh Downs, love him against Carolina, and Devontae Adams without Josh McDaniels. Now's the time to buy Devontae Adams. If you're struggling to make the playoffs, he's going to be great for the month of November, and then he might just quit on the team in December. That's my prediction. Give me Downs and Devontae Adams. Brees Hall and Chuba Hubbard versus Cam Akers, Zach Moss. Well, I like Zach Moss. Cam Akers, with an inexperienced quarterback, could get more run, but I'm not willing to say that just yet. Give me Bryce Hall, and I don't give a fuck about Chuba Hubbard, but Bryce Hall, Jesus Christ. Brees Hall, excuse me. I'll take him, even though I think Zach Moss could find the end zone. I'll still take Brees Hall. Darren Waller, call 1-800. I need a tight end coffee. Or, ew. Why is? Oh my God, you have Taysom Hill in. Holy fuck. Okay. Okay. So Taysom Hill against the Bears. Here we go again. Taysom Hill and Gabe Davis. If you own these motherfuckers, you have to play them. You can't play the guessing game. This was like last year. Somebody spent a lot of money on him last year when he got a 30-point game. You can't guess tight ends with him. You're either playing him in your starting lineup or you're not. Funny thing, though, is the one guy I thought was going to have a breakout year was Jawan Johnson, and he kind of sucks, too. Foster Moreau, after that Thursday night game, I don't think anybody wants him on the field anymore, which sucks, man. I actually like Foster Moreau. Trey McBride, what a breakout performance that was. I think everybody had him in DraftKings last week off of 14 targets. So here's my theory on Trey McBride. I actually like him as a prospect a lot. The other thing that I do like about Trey McBride is the fact that regardless if it's Clayton Tune or Kyler Murray, I still think he's going to get a lot of targets in this one. I think him and Njoku might lead. Actually, that's no, because of Amari Cooper. But they can get a lot of targets. And I honestly think that it's not a fluke with Trey McBride. I think he's kind of legit. With an inexperienced quarterback, he might have like a disgusting stat line, but 7 for like 44. I'm not going to say a touchdown, but if you do the math, it's around 7-8 points. You could do much worse. I guess I'm going with what you have, Coffee, and Taysom Hill against the Bears. I mean, it's either 0 or 15 points. Devonta Smith against Dallas. Something tells me they're really trying to make A.J. Brown the number 1 wide receiver in the entire league. Devonta Smith finally got off the schneid against a really bad Commanders D. I want to make a bold take, but I don't want to at the same time because I have A.J. Brown. But I do think that this might be A.J. Brown's hardest task. Something tells me I think that Gilmore is going to get the best of him for most of the game, but I think it's going to be like second half, A.J. Brown beats him for like a long touchdown or something like that. I think it might be an interesting battle. I think that guys like Stephon Gilmore who get physical, I think they're going to get physical back with a guy like A.J. Brown. Flip side, Garrett Wilson. Oh, so I want to talk about this. Garrett Wilson and Tank Dell. So Garrett Wilson, I think against the Chargers should be okay. I think Zach Wilson can't get him his upside, but he can get him his floor, which has been like 10 to 11 points. So I think he's fine, but I want to touch on Tank Dell a little bit. They are, in a way, so Robert Woods got ruled out, which made me really excited for Tank Dell. But when I was talking about guys who to stream, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I know it doesn't mean anything for fantasy, but Noah Brown actually causes a problem for guys like John Mechie and Tank Dell to see most of the target share. For some fucking reason, they really like Noah Brown as the number 2. And they were scheming up Robert Woods in like weird ways too. Robert Woods was ruled out, so I was like, oh, Tank Dell in the slot all day. Noah Brown, it's almost like they want Nico as like the primary guy, and then they don't have an identity for who the number 2 guy is. My concern with Tank Dell is I think he's a much better prospect and a much better player than Noah Brown, but I think that they're only giving him these gadgety type roles. Now, also keep in mind that the playbook was designed for Tank Dell to do good when Noah Brown was out. So every good game Tank Dell has had was because Noah Brown has been out. It's something to look at. I don't trust Tank Dell though anymore until I see something else. Oh, and give me. I guess Pittsburgh D against Will Levis is a good bounce back spot for them. To me, it's clear cut. I think Rob Coffey. I know there's a lot of guys you're starting that you don't feel comfortable with, but I'll go you anyway. All right, so another rivalry week. I think it's a two-way race officially at this point. I think Paul really needed to win last week to keep his playoff hopes alive, and he let me off the hook. So I do think, David, it's going to come down to you and Johnny. B Magic, sorry, bud, but you are a hell of a competitor. We're streaming Baker Mayfield against the Houston Texans and Derek Carr. I can't figure out Baker Mayfield for the life of me. I actually, week 3, I said to myself, I said, this guy's got a good floor. He's got like 15 points. And then he's had like, the game I streamed against David, he did shit. Derek Carr against the Bears. This is a perfect streamer. I'm actually going to go Derek Carr. So be magic. Congrats. Cooper Kupp with either Brett Rippon or some other guy I've never even heard of. And DeAndre Hopkins versus DK Metcalf and Josh Palmer. Well, so apparently Joey Porter Jr. is looking like a shutdown corner, I guess. I don't know if it's accurate. I think there's this account I follow on Twitter that tells me how fucking good he is. You know what? Let me talk about it while I'm looking up these numbers on Pro Football Focus. So let me talk about it. Cooper Kupp, look, I'm gonna flat out say this right now. My guess would be Rippon gets the start because he's had the first team the practice reps. But like, I don't even know, dude. Like Cooper Kupp, come on, really? DeAndre Hopkins, I know for a fact. I mean, David, you should be trying to sell his ass immediately after that performance. A guy who, you know, is disappointing. He's like the hot chick, looks good, but doesn't deliver. DK Metcalf. Yeah, I'm sorry. I am sorry. So here's what we're looking at. Cooper Kupp against the Green Bay Packers. Well, oh, what the fuck? Joey Porter? What is this? Whole dude, I'm sorry. I was looking up. I had no idea that. Oh, dude, this is crazy. So, Pro Football Focus. I'm sorry. I know I'm getting way off track. So, Pro Football Focus has databases of every single player ever named. So, when I typed in Joey Porter, his dad came up with the last known team that he played for at the Arizona Cardinals. So, now let me say, there he is, Joey Porter Jr. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna give out his grades. So in other words, like guys that he's covered. Overall in the season, it pretty much basically talks about how well that they've done. So I just want to go through this because who are we? Oh, we're talking about Hopkins. Huh. I mean, I'm not ready to put this guy on a fucking Darrelle Revis fucking path. Um, nothing really stood out to me. I think the two games where he scored really high on were Cleveland and Baltimore. And guess what? Like those don't have really receivers. All right, we're done with that. Bottom line is, even with Cup being limited in Hopkins, if they have dud performances, B Magic, Palmer doesn't have a good matchup. Dude, you talk about a guy who's officially due. It's DK Metcalf, but look, 14 targets last week. Hold up. Whoa, wait a minute. Let me put some push up. No, I'm just kidding. I got that stuck in my head. Yeah, I can't do that. I got to go Cup and Hopkins though. But I do think DK Metcalf will have a good game against the Baltimore Ravens. Just have an odd feeling. It's like he can't, knowing the type of player that he can't keep putting up these single digit performances. He's due. Fuck it. B Magic, DK Metcalf will get a 20-point performance. His first of the season and his only of the whole season. Royce Freeman and AJ Dillon. Oh God. Barkley and Pollard. I don't like Pollard at all. I think this guy should be sold immediately. But Barkley has a great matchup. I'm going his side. Kyle Pitts with. Will Taylor Heineke unlock Kyle Pitts? David Sutton. Could only hope so. I'm not ready to say that though, David Sutton. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know you don't want to hear it, but I'm gonna go. Nah, fuck. Draw. I don't like either of these guys. Waddle and Tyreek Hill in Germany versus Kareem Hunt and Brandon Cooks. Give me Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and then you got Giants D against Las Vegas, and then interestingly enough, you picked up New England. Hmm. Well, David Sutton, here's what I'm going to tell you. This is not an easy matchup, and this could be a trap game. The guys that I think you might get trapped against, Derek Carr could go off against the Bears. Metcalf, I'm expecting to have a good game, and Barkley could have a good game. I think those are his three top performers. And Kareem Hunt, although he doesn't look good in real life, he's finding the end zone. He's ever since he's been activated, he's the goal line back, and he found another rushing touchdown. I do think that Jerome Ford is the quote unquote guy, but if Kareem Hunt keeps scoring touchdowns, he's like Todd Gurley in the Falcons uniform. He's just finding ways to score. But I think where David's concerns are going to be eased a little bit, definitely not Baker Mayfield, but Waddle and Tyreek Hill. But you need them to go off. Sutton, your team is set up a lot like mine, like a lot like mine. It's like fucking shit you hate in your running back spot. Tight end is like meh, meh quarterback, but the receivers are they could have A+ potential. It's literally like working out upper body, no legs. Trust me, I know. Um, so here we go. I will say that this is a trap game, and you should be on upset alert. You know what? I'm not gonna pussy out. Fuck it. B Magic, you're taking this one. All right, Johnny. If you just listened to the previous matchup, I think the upset of the week could be B Magic against David Sutton, only because David Sutton has questionable quarterback play with Cooper Kupp and questionable quarterback play with, well, not really. I think Will Levis looked good in one game, then Hopkins has looked good with Tannehill all season long. Let's get this party started. Paul, my theory, what I always say, you proved my theory correct. Just give me a second because I really need to get this thing in the back. Paul, before you faced me, you went off for 162, which we know was a fucking outlier. I always say this. I want the team coming off an explosion week because 9 times out of 10, they're going to cool off. Regardless of a flu game or not for Patrick Mahomes, you cooled off. And you know that's my theory. So we get Johnny Ahern and Paul. Jay, I'm sorry, I'm too lazy to go back to this shit. Oh no, you're not on a win streak because you lost to Krier in between. Well, Jay Fresh, when you had that stretch against me and Krier, I think you predicted a win against Krier, but a loss against me. Regardless, you're exactly where you want to be in this position. You could also take the division if I'm expecting David Krier to lose. I'm sorry, David Sutton to lose to Pete Magic. Let's get into it. They have the projections. What? What? You got to have somebody on a bye, Johnny. Oh, McCaffrey. Duh. Okay. With that being said, Paul is projected at 110 to 102. Paul, obviously, I think you thought you were going to be 4-4, and this could have been a great comeback story, but to no avail. But you really, it's a must win for you because I'm assuming already that it's a 2-man race. Holy fuck, you're starting Elijah Moore. God damn. All right. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Only one man can be the victor. Well, if they put antibiotics in Patrick Mahomes, gave him some steroids, flew him out to Germany, and this, that, the other, he should be good to go. Josh Allen, though, it's a draw. Josh Allen has looked great. Johnny, good call on that. Draw. Adam Thielen and Nico Collins versus Terry McLaurin and Elijah Moore. Well, Thielen is dealing. Terry McLaurin, well, so here is the. Let me talk about McLaurin. Before that, let me go to the Giants side. Adam Thielen, look, bottom line is this: Carolina did not go out and get a veteran receiver. They're going to keep feeding Adam Thielen the ball, which means, honestly, he's in like a tier on his own. He is literally the definition of targets. Everything's within the chain markers, but he's getting 11 targets. So his floor is like 11 for 100. That's great. But I think it's like such a high floor that there's no upside. So it's weird for me to categorize him what he is. Some people would say low end one, other might categorize him as just a wide receiver two. I don't fucking know. But whatever it's doing, it's good. Nico Collins. This is a guy I know you want off your team just because you have other intriguing options. But I think he has a good game this week. The Panthers game was a disappointment. I have no idea if J.C. Horn even showed up for that game. That's the only thing that I could say that might have affected his performance to look lackluster at best. But am I really going to go out here and kind of like speculate exactly what's going on with a guy like Nico Collins? Probably not. But the whole passing attack looked like shit. And it kind of poured cold water on the C.J. Stroud hot streak. Because when they went into the bye, they beat the Saints in their home building. Wow. So air on the side of caution, but this is what I expected out of Nico Collins. The 20 and 30 point outbursts that he had in those few weeks, never in a million years did Nico Collins to me look like a 100-yard receiver. But this is a matchup. Tampa Bay secondary gets very, very leaky. If you notice on the Thursday night game how they were playing Stephon Diggs, they are very lucky that they locked him up and bump and run. I think Nico slips by. He's the only one that has the strength to get by Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean. Flip side, Terry McLaurin and Elijah Moore. Well, first of all, Elijah Moore shouldn't be in a starting roster anywhere. Terry McLaurin. So, Paul, bottom line is this. With Curtis Samuel dealing with a toe injury, and he didn't practice today, that means there's going to be an uptick in targets for Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. And I swear to God, if we get another Jamison Crowder performance, that's just absolutely insane. And it's ridiculous at the same time. Here's my issue. Belichick factor. It's come clear that Belichick can only take out the best player when they're kind of mediocre at best, not when they're elite. Problem with the Miami Dolphins is they have two elite guys and it's hard to catch up. So they both went off against Belichick because they didn't know who to cover. Flip side, Terry McLaurin is probably public enemy number one, which does not bode well for you, Paul, which could probably lead to another Jahan Dotson touchdown because who else are they taking out? You're not taking out Jahan Dotson and leaving Terry McLaurin one-on-one. You're not worried about Brian Robinson. You're not worried about Logan Thomas. You're not worried about Antonio Gibson. process of elimination, I think McLaurin's the one who gets fucked. But then again, does it even matter? New England sucks. So I'm giving you all these possibilities. Regardless, dude, Thielen and Nico by a mile. Oh God. Rashad White and Darrell Henderson Jr., James Cook, and Joe Mixon. So I am actually going to say something right now. James Cook's value is going to take a hit. Rashad White, look. People are coming at me, right? Because this is a guy I did not want anywhere near my team, even as a zero RB thing, because I did think that somebody would overtake the early down rushing role. Tampa Bay has not had anybody look competent all season that can run between the tackles. Rashad White himself is not a good in between tackles runner, but the only thing I said that is going to keep his fantasy value afloat is the fact, guys, that this motherfucker, okay, can catch passes. And if Baker Mayfield keeps dump, this guy is always going to have a floor of at least 10. I don't think he has upside because I don't see him being a guy that can score touchdowns, but goddamn, his floor is annoyingly good because he is not a good player. Sorry. Darrell Henderson, he's like Rams Kareem Hunt, right? He comes back to a team that got rid of him, and it's like he never lost a step. Well, he kind of has. Royce Freeman, though, is the goal line back. So, again, I think his upside is even capped a little bit. But he is the one that gets catches. I don't see Sean McVay dumbing down his playbook. I think Sean McVay, at this point, he got his ring. He's got a hot-ass wife. He has a kid. He's playing with house money at this point. He's like, dude, just go out and fucking have fun. Let Brett rip it and dump it off 10 times to Darrell Henderson. Paul, there is a guy that I would have never in a million years would have been intrigued by. It's Joe Mixon. I was watching that game because I had a lot of DraftKings players in the Millionaire Maker on that San Fran Cincinnati game. Joe Mixon was not one of them, but every time he touched the ball, dude, he looked good, dude. And I know he popped up on the injury report with something, but it's just a chest injury. Bottom line, I'm gonna flat out say it right now. The guy looks fucking good, and I think he scores against the Buffalo Bills. Paul, I'm actually going your side on this one. Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce, we have ourselves a tight end party, baby. I'm actually gonna go Kelce here. Chiefs are gonna bounce back big. Gabriel Davis and Dalton Kincaid. Oh, you stacking Jashy boy, bitch. Versus Tyler Wood and Alexander Madison. This isn't even close. Give me Gabe Davis and Dalton Kincaid. So let me do the Josh Allen touchdown counter because we're talking about Johnny here. Gabe Davis had a good game. Stephon Diggs was quiet. Dalton Kincaid had a good game. Khalil Shakir had a good game. Johnny, if you're watching, with Dawson Knox out, they're running more 3 wide receiver sets. And honestly, Shakir, I think, where was this before? This Khalil Shakir as an underneath option is just what this offense needs. I think you know this as well as I do. And I know you want it because Kincaid's the motherfucking G. Like, he is. He's good. I think that Kincaid scores. I don't think Gabe Davis scores, though. So I think Josh Allen will combine for 3 touchdowns. I'll say 1 to Kincaid, 1, maybe even 2 to Diggs. Not Gabe Davis. Boyd, this matchup does bode well. Guess what I just did? This matchup bodes well for Boyd. Where do I come up with this? Good job, Harsh. No. Alexander Madison? Yikes. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Give me Gabe Davis and Kincaid. Cleveland D, if it's against Kyler Murray, I still think they'll be just fine. But New Orleans D, I am giving you the edge there, Mr. Paul Percal. Damn, these NBA games start late. Sorry, I'm trying to set up my fucking lineup here. With that being said, Paul, I'm going to flat out tell you right now, buddy boy. I can't believe they have you favored. I think it's because of Travis Kelce and Mahomes' numbers get it inflated. And for some reason, both your running backs are predicted double-digit points. That's fine for Joe Mixon because nobody else is touching the ball. James Cook should be projected at around 7 to 8. I think they're very – you're always overrated on projections, though. Paul, I will say that Mahomes, Kelsey, New Orleans D will wreak havoc, and Joe Mixon. So I think that those guys combined will get like 70. Everybody else is going to be shit, though. So with that being said, Johnny, I think you'll manhandle Paul in this one. I'm going to say 112.81. No, I'm sorry. 112.96. Alex Matika and myself. First time we've met this year, buddy. Gardner Minshew versus Lamar Jackson. Okay, next question. Stephon Diggs and A.J. Brown versus receiver to be named and Deontay Johnson. So you have Deontay Johnson going up in the Thursday night game. Uh, Bottom line is this guy is the definition of pure floor. He's going to get those fucking targets. He's going to do good with them. He just, for some reason, is allergic to the end zone. His floor is literally 10 to 11 points every week, and he fits well with what you're doing. You have a very good floor lineup. Flip side, Stephon Diggs and A.J. Brown. Oh, okay, hold on. Stephon Diggs, in a matchup where he's going to go one-on-one with Jamar Chase, I think he wants to be motivated and say, hey, yo, that guy's good on the other sideline, but I'm even better. I'm Stephon Diggs. I'm going to do my damn motherfucking thing. Stephon Diggs going to have a good game, and wait for it. Wait for it. A.J. Brown. This guy is an absolute fucking animal. I mean, he's been my favorite pick, dude. I gotta say though, right now, this is the toughest matchup he's had all year. I actually think that he'll still be fine, but I do think that they're gonna try to lock Gilmore up on him. Is it gonna matter? Probably not. But I do think that it's 5 or 6 games with 125 yards. Let's keep him coming, A.J. Brown. A lot of people think he should be the MVP. A.J. Brown. Running backs, Aaron Jones continues to be limited. Matica, I can't go Jalen Warren just because I don't want stock in an offense that sucks with 2 players on a Thursday night. It's just going to kill my weekend vibes completely. So I'm benching Jalen Warren. I'll probably put Zach Charbonnet in. DeAndre Swift, bank account, and Jonathan Taylor, though. Swift will be okay. Taylor should have a good game. Dallas Goedert against Dallas. You could do worse. Versus Chargers tight end to be named. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Rashid Shaheed, I like. Send me a trade offer, please. Jerome Ford, like him. Keenan Allen, George Pickens, though, I think will be just fine in that matchup. Jets D or Buffalo D. I'm going to go Jets D in this one. I think that they have the better matchup than Buffalo Bills D. Well, okay. B Magic, or I called you B Magic. I don't know why I did that. Matica, you've got Lamar Jackson. And if Lamar Jackson does Lamar Jackson things, I think this game could be over in a heartbeat. Just kidding. But I think it gives you an advantage because I don't have a quarterback. Dude, I got 3 points. I have not passed 12. Dude, last time my quarterback got 20 points was in week 3. I combined for 8 points, 12 points, 6 points from Baker Mayfield, -1 from Deshaun Watson, and 3 from Desmond Ritter. Minshew, there the carousel. You're back up unless Kyler Murray comes back this week, which is also a possibility. But needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, I am going through it right now. I really, really am. I mean, the running backs on my team might combine for 10 points. Yeah, I know. Sucks dick. Same thing over here for you. If your running backs get volume, they don't necessarily have to get 20-plus point performances, but if Lamar Jackson outproduces his projection, which probably will happen, and you have everybody else get like 10 points, maybe sprinkle in a guy to get 20, I think that's how you beat me. I'm more of an explosive team. I'm not a flory team. But if you can control everything else there, I think this matchup clearly dictates that you should win. And the sad thing is you don't even have Amon-Ra St. Brown in here. So if I'm telling that you should not manhandle, but control the game against me, dude, and you're not having Amon-Ra St. Brown, the key factor for me is Minshew, dude, get at least close to your projection, dude. I haven't had a quarterback get double digits in so long, man. it's quite sad when you think about it, and it's all I constantly think about every fucking day of the week, guys. Not really, but you catch my drift. Um, who else? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought because I was like in tears about my quarterback. Um, Diggs, Brown, and Keenan Allen are always a threat to just go off. I think two of the three will go off. Most likely Diggs and Brown. Keenan Allen, I think, will get like 10, 15 range. His floor is really good, but like I haven't seen an upside performance in a while. And Aaron Jones, I know he's in a red non-contact jersey and this, that, the other. I don't know what the fuck's going on in there. I like him though because he's when he touches the ball, he's fine. They just still bringing him around cautiously. Alex, for the first time ever, man, I like my team a lot. I really do. Unless the Jets defense proves me wrong and gets 35 points, I really think that this matchup goes up very well for you. I'm actually taking you in this one. If I had a crystal ball back and before week 1 started, and you were to tell me that the David Krier team back in week 1 would right now have a better record than the Patrick team, I would have looked at you and I would say, please, 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 please get a different crystal ball because this one is ineffective. I don't believe it. After I've seen stuff, and look, I'm already owning up to the fact that I got to eat crow. Okay, I'm owning up to that fact, but this is not what I had predicted by any means. So we got to talk about what's going on. This is dead even, 104 to 105. Dak Prescott versus Jalen Hurts. They are going head to head in real life, and they are going head to head in a fantasy matchup. Well, I'm going to tell you guys this: Dak has the better matchup, but Hurts is the better player. Now, I'm also factoring in the fact that Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys are much better at home than they are on the road. So I'm going Jalen Hurts. One thing to keep an eye on, he doesn't want to keep answering questions about his knee. I think he might be a little self-conscious about it. He just walked off the podium when somebody had asked him about it. It's almost like he took offense to it. I don't know what's going on there. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts regardless, though. I know Dallas has a better defense, but even if he can't find anybody open, this guy's an escape artist. One of the best in the whole entire league. Give me Jalen Hurts. Michael Pittman Jr., Amari Cooper, Drake London, T. Higgins. Well, I can already tell you this right now. All 4 of these guys were on my do not draft list. Every single one of them. Pittman for a different reason, though. Pittman was because I didn't think Anthony Richardson would be an accurate thrower. I thought he would be a cheat code for fantasy with his legs, though. Cooper, ADP was too inflated. I wasn't buying it. Same thing with Drake London, and he plays on a team that doesn't throw a lot. And T. Higgins, I mean, you're playing behind Jamar Chase, and you're getting picked in the 3rd round. So that was an ADP discussion. But my tune has now changed on 2 of these guys. I think Michael Pittman Jr. with Gardner Minshew is a little bit more serviceable. The only issue, though, is Pittman can't be an alpha when Josh Downs is breaking out at the same time. Flip side, Amari Cooper. He's serviceable enough with PJ Walker, but does Deshaun Watson play? Can we just state the fact that we might not even know if Watson is any good? So if we're factoring that in there as well, I don't know. Cooper is at home. The Browns. This is a perfect get right spot for the Browns, which is so funny because it's only fitting that Deshaun Watson would want to come back against a shitty team yet again. I mean, this guy's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Sorry for dropping F-bombs, but there is the guy that I've changed my tune on now with the quarterback change. I absolutely love Drake London with Taylor Heineke. Um, I think they were a bit more cautious with Desmond Ridder. I understand Arthur Smith is still the coach, but I actually do think that Taylor Heineke, regardless of what he plays YOLO ball. Somebody said that Taylor Heineke is like a dollar store Brett Favre. That's how he plays. So who am I going with? The matchups are great on both sides of the ball, but I might lean Krier slightly. My issue is T. Higgins has had, when he's been healthy, he's had one good game. But this is against the Buffalo Bills, which are not a good defense against the pass. Josh Jacobs, Raheem Mostert, Pacheco, and Eckler. Well, I'm going Krier here again. Love Jacobs against the Giants. Love Mostert against the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs' pass defense has been impressive. Run defense, not so good. Pacheco should have a good game as well. I don't like Eckler against the Jets. If Austin Eckler is to do anything against this New York Jets team, it's through the air. Again, Eckler did great against the Bears, but what are we missing out here? It's in the screen in the passing game. His rushing numbers have steadily declined the last 3 years. The only reason why his fantasy value is still keeping him in the first round is because he's catching the ball. So with that being said, I'm gonna go Jacobs and Mostert. T.J. Hawkinson. Well, when you got an inexperienced quarterback, tight end is the one thing that you want. Logan Thomas, no thank you. Give me Hawkinson. Well, here we go again. Derrick Henry, Gus Edwards, Rashee Rice, KJ Osborne. I mean, this isn't even close. I don't even like Derrick Henry, and I can already tell you it's a slam dunk. Vegas D against the Giants. Now that's how you stream them, kids. And Washington against New England. Who cares? To me, I don't feel the other than Jalen Hurts and a potential Drake London. Krier is going to kill me when I say this, and I'm sorry if you're still listening to these podcasts, but I honestly think that you manhandle Patrick in this one. Patrick, you're probably like, thank God, because every time I make a really disrespectful statement, the opposite happens, and I'm not trying to reverse drinks. I look at every single thing. The only thing I don't like about David Crier's matchup is Derrick Henry. And something to keep an eye on. Gus Edwards against Seattle is also a bad matchup, but everything else, dude, call me crazy, but I'm going Krier. Ladies and gentlemen, we got family affairs. We have family affairs. Yep. Cousin Bowl and Andre is projected as the favorite. Tua versus Jordan Love. Next question. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans versus Puka Nacua and Jordan Addison. Wait a minute. No, there's a typo there because I think it says Jordan added him. Puka Nacua with Brett Rippon. No, thank you. Godwin and Mike Evans. They're such a boring combo just because, like, I get it, they're good receivers, but, like, I think, like, when I have two receivers on the same team, like, you want one to get 20, the other 10, and I just feel like these two can't do it with Baker. Dude, Baker. Baker Mayfield. They just can't do it. You know Baker? I know Baker. All right, so it looks like we're going to go Godwin and Evans over Nacua and Addison. Yeah, that's what I like. I think that Puka, I really got some good hands. But can Brett Rippon get it down the ball? Because I don't know against Green Bay. And when you got Jordan Addison, he's looking like a star in the making. But who the hell is throwing him the ball? Because Dobbs ain't ready. My accent's going in and out. It's like fucking Australian, British, and Irish at the same time. Meanwhile, we're going to go down under to the running back spot. Bijan Robinson looking like an absolute animal when he gets the balls. He's like a wild crocodile in the wild. He's just waiting and he's very patient, and when he gets the ball, he strikes at the right opportunity. Then you get Ramondre Stevenson, an absolute bust. I don't want him anywhere near me. But on the flip side, you got a wild Camara. Shh, be very quiet because every time he touches the ball, it's must-see TV. Now, that's what they used to say back in 2017 when the man was an absolute stud and everybody was in tune to who this man really is. But then you got the canine, and I'm not talking about the ones with sharp teeth. I'm talking about the ones with sharp cuts in the open backfield. Kenneth Walker. But that Walker had a calf injury that kept him out for quite some time, leading Zach Charbonnet to outsnipe him in the game against the Browns.
But as of right now, I see nothing on the injury report to report. And with that being said, I like the canine in Kamara, especially that Kamara against wild bears. Except these bears, they don't attack, they just lay down and hibernate. You can run all over them. Speaking of a bear, shh, you got Cole Komet, who was looking really, really good with this Bajan teabag motherfucker. And then you got Dalton Schultz. Honestly, I'm going to go with the quiet bear and Komet. Shh, shh, shh. The reason why I'm saying shh is because I think rest of season, this Cole Komet could be quite the sleeper. We don't want to wake him up just yet. I know you're loving this, Andre. I think you're smoking something. I can smell it from here. And then we go to the flex matchup. A, B, C, D, Lamb. You see, when I get my CD Lamb, I like him in the open field against matchups where he can win. And Philadelphia is no exception. Tyler Lockett, somehow, some way, he's an old veteran, but he gets the job done. A quote 3 years ago from Marlon Humphrey, he said, hardest receiver I ever had to cover. And he's back, baby. Luke Musgrave sucks, but Jamal Chase, you're going to be chasing them points there, Alan. He looks like a stud. Excuse me. Had some nice chicken. Now I just burped it out. Indianapolis versus Miami. Give me Indianapolis. We got an upset alert. Upset special number 2. I picked Green Magic against David Sutton, and I'm going to pick Andre Jones, who's projected against Alan Williams. I'm sorry, but the cousin they call Dre is still Dre, while Alan Williams is asleep on another cruise, probably to the land down under. Hopefully that this audio came out quickly and clearly for you boys. I'm out.